The New York Rangers start out the new year with a W at Florida. They win 5-3, and this was with Yaroslav Halak in net. And it always feels like if you can win when Halak's in net, not that Halak is that horrible. And in fact, I thought he played pretty well in this game. Considering he had 3 goals, there was a lot of chances on both sides, and you had to face a lot. And for you to win when Igor's not in net, it's nice. And for the Rangers to score 5 goals, like the Panthers are struggling. The Florida Panthers last year won the President's Trophy for most points in the league, and it's been a struggle. And there's a lot. Look, there's a lot of season to go. We're not even halfway there. But the Panthers are in like a legitimate amount of trouble, considering how good the Eastern Conference is. It looks as if, and I've seen this look, like you don't want to get ahead of yourselves, but there's a decent chance right now that you get both wildcard teams come out of the Metro. And the Rangers did a good job today. Really, that first line especially, which I've liked since it was created way back when, but really since it's been brought back recently. Kreider, Zibanejad, Kakko. It works well. It really works well. I thought Kakko was excellent. A couple of really nice assists. Zibanejad had a couple of goals today. Like that, there's some things that I think you can kind of start to now, and I know that they'll change, unfortunately, but like that's one thing. Keep that going. Keep that line intact, definitely. But I think that you can tweak some things elsewhere. Now, defensively, the pairs make total sense. The ice time, again, like for me, I wish that Trouba would get less time and Steiner would get more. It just it hasn't been in the cards, and I felt like in this game, like Harper Steiner has been pretty solid. And Harper did take a bad penalty that did lead to a goal. You have to, call that out. And, Harper, but I think he has been pretty steady and a lot better than Libor Hayek. I keep on saying I don't think Harper is like the long-term answer in terms of this season, but for now, it makes sense. And so you have stability defensive pair-wise. I do wish the third pair maybe got a little bit more time. I feel like Jacob Trouba plays more than he should, but that could be a conversation for another day. As far as the forward lines, like I said, leave that Zibanejad alone. And the fourth line, I like the idea of having Goodrow and Gauthier on the fourth line. Sammy Blais, I don't like what I see there. And again, Sammy Blais took a penalty today, and he just doesn't look good. And this was someone who, look, as bad as the Buchnevich-Blais trade has been, in fairness to Blais, you can use the excuse about the Subban situation last year where Blais tore his ACL. That was a bad injury, and he just hasn't been, it's not as if Sammy Blais had a crazy track record before that, but he did look pretty good as a Ranger before he went down. He really did. It's hard to think about that now. But anyway, Sammy Blais for me would be the healthy scratch. I'd lean Brodzinski. Because also what Brodzinski does, even though I like Goodrow on the fourth line, by putting Brodzinski in on the fourth line, it does allow you to have him as a center option, and you could move Goodrow around. There's a little bit more flexibility in doing that. So that'd be my preference. I'm not going to make a big deal about that, but for me, Sammy Blais should be the healthy scratch. And Julien Gauthier should definitely not be. Gauthier, again, drew another penalty. And look, he was -1 today. But I just think that he deserves to be in there. Here's really the crux of it. I think like that. So the first and fourth line, I think like it's manageable and there's not that many tweaks that need to be made. It's kind of the second and third, and like that's where that Heat line wasn't very good today. And Lafreniere came back in and he was all right. And it was a nice gesture. Ben Harper gave Lafreniere the hat, and that was a nice gesture. But look, that line didn't do a lot. That was Heedle centering Lafreniere and Vesey. I still wanna. I don't know if Trocheck Panarin is the right way to go about it. I still think that I want to give Panarin with Heedle more of a chance, and maybe go back to Trocheck Vesey. I'm trying to think of what the right combination would be, and it's tough to say because Kreider, Trocheck, Vesey worked, but at this point, I kind of want to leave Kreider, Zibanejad, and Kakko alone. So now. I don't know, like, who do you put with Trocheck and Vesey? If you're going to have, like, would it be Kravtsov or Lafreniere? Maybe you try Kravtsov. Yeah, that could be an interesting combination. Maybe what you do, and look, I'm fine with trying Lafreniere on the right wing. So maybe try Panarin. Although defensively it's rough. But with Kravtsov, it's rough too. Here's what I'm saying. I don't mind. They'll never do this, but maybe you try Panarin, Hedel, and Lafreniere, and then Kravtsov. You know what happens in that situation? Goodrow would move up, which, yeah, I don't know. Either way, long story short, not to get into it in full detail, but what do you do on the second and third line? I think that needs to be switched. Whether that may not mean switching Hedel and Trocheck and having Hedel play with Panarin. It may not mean that, but it might mean, I guess, logically Goodrow factoring in there somewhere, because they do not really trust Gauthier, and I kind of understand why. Like, they're not going to put Gauthier in one of those spots, so you're kind of limited option-wise. So don't be stunned if you do see Goodrow move off the fourth line, which would then put Brodzinski back in, and then I think it should move Blade to healthy scratch. Anyway, that's my spiel on that. But as far as this game goes, the Rangers got off to a really good start. I felt like the start was good, and the Panthers got into the game more as the game progressed, but the Rangers start pretty good one. For a good first period for the Rangers. And they take the lead. There was a power play opportunity as Eric Staal hooks Sammy Blais. So give Blais credit for that. Blais does draw penalties from time to time, I have to say. Eric Staal, former Ranger, more so Mark Staal, former Ranger, on this Panther team. Mark Staal and Eric Staal back again as teammates. A short-lived time with the Rangers at the end of the 2016 season, which did not go well as the Rangers got crushed against the Penguins in round one. Anyway, the Rangers don't score in the power play. And don't let the 2-for-4 mislead you. The Rangers end up 2-for-4 on the power play, but one of the goals, which we'll talk about really soon, was literally it was a situation where it was right as the penalty expired. The Rangers went on a power play. So the Ranger penalty ended. It was not a power play goal. And the other one they scored was really on a rush play. It wasn't in the setup. It wasn't with that zone time. So again, I still have questions about the power play, but the stats look good. So the Rangers don't score in that first power play. Then you have a Trocheck roughing penalty at 12:36. The former Panther Vinny Trocheck in Florida roughs Anton Lundell, and then you have a Sam Bennett goalie interference penalty. This is where eventually Trocheck penalty ends, and Zibanejad is in all alone. Zibanejad, basically fans on it, and it goes through Bobrovsky. Sergei Bobrovsky, like that, to me, I mean, I'd have to look at it, but it does not seem like that's worked out at all. Bobrovsky with the Panthers. That was a big contract, and ultimately, it doesn't seem like, obviously, he must have done pretty well last year, although that was a very high-scoring team. Anyway, Zibanejad fans on it, but still scores. His 17th of the season from Panarin and Fox at 14:36 gives the Rangers a 1-0 lead. So the Rangers would keep that lead going into the second. And in the second, Eric Staal trips Gauthier at 3:38. However, the power play does not score. Then, at 7:23, Sammy Blais elbows Mahora, but the Rangers penalty kill does a good job, kills it off. And then the Rangers score. A really nice play by Braden Schneider in the defensive zone to begin this play. And, Schneider, plus minus isn't everything and can be misleading. I believe Braden Schneider is at least plus 10, which is pretty good stuff. And I know that he's obviously getting more favorable matchups as opposed to the other guys, but still. It ends up with a Zibanejad goal. Zibanejad's second goal of the night, 18th of the season, and a really nice pass by Kakko from behind the net. Really nice pass. It's Zibanejad from Kakko and Schneider at 10:30 gives the Rangers a 2-0 lead. Then Artemi Panarin takes a cross-checking penalty, and luckily Panarin ends up scoring in this game, but it's like Panarin, he bothers me. He really does. And Panarin takes a penalty. Rangers kill it off, but very soon thereafter, Nick Cousins scores. Maybe not the best goal by Halak, a good opportunity, but kind of went through him. But Cousins scores his fourth from Staal and Mahura. So Eric Staal, that is, on the assist. So actually, it ends up being a multi-point game for Eric Staal. But the Panthers cut it to 2-1. Then the Rangers get the 2-goal lead back as it's Kreider scoring his 17th goal of the season from Kakko and Fox. So make the 2 assists for Fox and Kakko. And a nice pass by Kakko as well. Kakko really, like on the Zibanejad and Kreider goals in the second period, was a big part of it. Really was. And it's good. This is what happens. You play him with good players like Zibanejad and Kreider, and he's going to flourish. It's hard. But when you're not getting the ice time and you're, lower down, it's not going to be easy. So for Kakko to this point in the year, it's been mostly encouraging. Whereas Lafreniere, it has not been. For Kakko, it's been good. And so for the Rangers, it's a 3-1 lead, but it's a penalty for Ben Harpur, as I alluded to earlier. He boards Eric Staal, and Sam Bennett scores a power play goal, his 8th goal of the season from Verhaeghe and Forsling, and the Rangers are up 1 heading into the third period. In the third, the Rangers get a power play as Verhaeghe high sticks Trouba at 1:16, and it's a really nice play. I think Trocheck makes a nice defensive play here. And it leads to a situation where Kreider is waiting for Trocheck to go down. Really nice pass by Kreider, who is not the best passer. Nice little sauce over the defense, right onto the tape of Trocheck's stick, and he buries it. Really big goal to give that Rangers a 4-2 lead. However, it's kind of seesaw where the Rangers have the quick 2-goal lead, and it goes back to 1, and that happened again. Eric Staal scores his 4th of the season unassisted at 2:43. So these were pretty short-lived 2-goal leads for the Rangers, but they stuck with it, and eventually they get another 2-goal lead and keep it. And it was Artemi Panarin who scores his 10th of the season from Trocheck and Harpur. And Panarin shot the puck, and it went off of I believe it was a shot. Actually, no. I think it was a pass. It was either a shot or pass that goes back to Panarin off the Panther defender, and then Panarin does the right thing. He shoots it right away, and it fools Bobrovsky. Not a great goal by Bobrovsky, but I want to see Panarin, and he's been better with this lately, more in a shooting mode, and he scores. So the goals are starting to come for Panarin. It's his 10th from Trocheck and Harpur, and the Rangers take a 5-3 lead, and, Halak does a nice job, and the Rangers win the game 5-3. Good win. And so now the Rangers head home to take on the scorching hot Carolina Hurricanes. This is going to be a very interesting game. Carolina's on an 11-game winning streak. I believe they've had points in 17 straight games. And look, this is the first matchup since the Hurricane-Ranger playoff series. I felt that extra intensity in that Ranger-Penguin game recently. Like, you could feel it. Now, that one was in Pittsburgh. This will be at the Garden. Either way, this will be exciting and a really good test. I mean, Carolina, I have so much respect for that team. It was a proud moment for the Rangers to beat them last year in 7 in Carolina. It was a proud moment. And so now we'll see if it's Kochekov in net for the Hurricanes. He's been really good. Antti Raanta was in net today against the Devils and didn't really perform all that well. So I don't think it'll be him. Max Pacioretty is on the mend. It's possible that he makes his Carolina debut. We don't really know. But a lot of storylines heading into this game, and this will be an interesting one. Now, the Rangers have shown some streak-busting ability, as we saw, I guess, what is it now? I guess less than a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, where they beat the Devils and ended their road win streak, and the Maple Leafs with the whole Mitch Marner point streak, and Toronto was doing really well. So we've seen them, we've seen them rise to the occasion. But this will be a good test. It was a pretty good Florida trip. You get 3 points at Tampa and Florida. I can't complain with that. That works pretty well. But now they'll head home to take on the Carolina Hurricanes it's just a 1-game home situation, because then they'll head on the road to face Montreal, and they'll come back in the tri-state area to go to New Jersey. But this will be the one MSG game in a little bit, and we'll see what happens. First game at the Garden in 2023. Hopefully it's a similar result to what we saw against the Florida Panthers, but I'm excited for that one. But again, here, Rangers do a good job. They win it 5-3. And like I said, we will now see what happens as they take on the really, really, really hot Carolina Hurricanes.